And we've got Kyle on again to continue the discussion more on science and faith and their compatibility. Hey, Kyle.
Hello, Joe. It's good to be here. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to come and talk with you today.
Thank you for coming on. Did you want to go through those more controversial topics that you brought up?
So that would be like the age of the Earth, Noah's flood, global warming. You just kind of want my stance on those?
Yeah, and I think you did a good job of this, but just really bringing home that it's your perspective.
Yeah, sure. I mean, since I don't have all the answers, it really is just my take on these issues. Yeah, these are definitely some hot point topics. I have to be honest, I only learned fairly recently that global warming and climate change apparently count as theological issues, which I honestly found quite surprising. I was exposed for the first time to the idea, apparently, that some Christians believe that as a Christian, to hold on to your orthodox theology, you cannot accept global warming or climate change, which I was quite surprised to hear. I absolutely believe that there are significant effects happening on the planet we live on. I believe, as most scientists have agreed with a large level of certainty, that these effects are due in large part to human effects on the planet. And I don't see any problem theologically with this. We were never told that our actions wouldn't have repercussions.
Yeah, kind of the opposite.
Yeah, right? I mean, we live in a fallen world, and we are fallen beings, and we can make mistakes. And though we will make mistakes and we will be forgiven, our mistakes have repercussions here in this world. And that is absolutely true and something we will have to deal with. So I don't see any reason to believe that we wouldn't be able to do damage to the place that we live. And we have obviously seen that on smaller scales before in the past. And it is possible for our human failings to have an effect on God's creation. Climate change just strikes me as one example of that. From everything that I can tell from my research and talking to people who study this even more than I do, there are without a doubt changes happening to planet Earth right now that are unprecedented in their rate. And we could talk about the specifics a lot more if you want. The Earth has been hotter than this in the past. We're not headed towards unprecedented temperatures yet, but the rate at which this is occurring is unprecedented. We're talking about changes that normally occur over long timescales, and we're seeing them over the last 150 years. So global warming is one where, yeah, I personally believe that this is an issue that we need to pay attention to. We need to change some of our ways. To be good stewards, as we are called to be, of the creation of God's goodness, we need to make some changes.
I was just going to say that I fall into pretty much exactly the same camp. Granted, I'm not nearly as educated as you. And also, it's kind of just both of our opinions based on what we know, not being experts on this.
That's kind of a good segue into the next topic you mentioned, which is Noah's flood. And I even hinted in the previous video a little bit about some of the conversations that are held. Was Noah's flood truly global in the sense that it covered the entire Earth? Was it global in the sense that it covered the entire known land at the time? Was it actually just an allegory and it didn't even happen? These are all stances that are held to by people in various positions and across the spectrum in Christianity. And this is one where I hesitate to throw down a definitive answer myself. I'm not a geologist studying sedimentary rock layers. It's not something I've ever done. I personally don't see a problem with either of those first two proposals. Whether it was a completely global flood that literally covered the entire planet, or whether it was a flood that was global in the sense that it covered everywhere that the writers at the time could see. Either one of those seems fine to me. I don't have a problem with either one of those. I'm not sure which one it was. I think I would lean towards those two before I would agree with the story that the flood was completely just allegory.
So last one, Age of the Earth?
Yeah. So the last one is another one of the really big topics, especially between Christians, is the age of the Earth. I would say that as my background as an astrophysicist, I definitely believe in an old universe. I believe that the commonly accepted modern cosmology of a roughly 13.5 billion year old universe, starting with the Big Bang, a roughly 4 to 5 billion year old planet Earth, is what all of the science that I've been able to investigate seems to point toward. I don't have any problem believing the accounts of Genesis 1 and 2, and also believing that the universe is very, very old. And I'm certainly not alone in that. This would definitely count as one of those issues that I was talking about that I don't believe is a salvation issue. I have brothers and sisters, Christians who I love dearly, who believe the world is 6,000 years old. And I disagree with them on that point, but I still respect them. I would be happy to have conversations with them, and I enjoy having conversations with them on that topic. But I don't think they're going to be damned. I don't think that that's a salvation issue, how old you think planet Earth is. I think what's important is, who do you believe made it, right? And who do you believe is your savior? And if we can agree on that, then we can disagree on some other things, like how old this planet is. I have absolutely loved my experience of studying this universe that we've been put in, and the cycles that exist within it, the cycles of birth and rebirth here on this planet, the cycles of birth and rebirth of planets in general and of stars, the mergers of galaxies, the condensation of enormous clouds of gas into a newborn star, and everything that we see points to the fact that these astrophysical cycles are on many, many million, if not billion-year timescale, depending on the size of the star. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that it is very impressive that we live in a universe that has been around for such a long time, waiting for just the right condition for God to put humans made in His image here on this earth. I think in many ways it is even more epic, right? Again, there's another word that gets thrown around a lot, I think, in our modern language. It's even more epic to have a story that is 13 billion years long before it finally gets to our part of it, right? And that's, the traditional sense of the word epic really just refers to long. Thanks for watching me talk with Joe for a little bit. If you enjoyed what you saw and heard, feel free to subscribe to Joe's channel for more great videos like this.
Cool. Kyle, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate your time in this. I know you're a busy man.
It was my pleasure. I'm really glad I could help. You should definitely send me some links when everything is ready to go.
Oh, you will be getting the links.
Fantastic.